Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone, to another stream on Scout. Today I'm joined with Gianni Buttici, and we're just going to review some of the games that we saw today and the games on Friday and Saturday. Hello, Gianni. How are you keeping?
Yeah, man, I'm really good. Thank you for the warm welcome. It's great to be streaming back on Sundays on Scout. There's loads to discuss as always, and there always will be on these Sunday streams. That's the beauty of it because we're literally just reacting to the game. So I mean, some will listen to this on Monday morning, which completely works still because we're digesting many of the Sunday games, obviously the Saturday games. We were together on Friday night, which was pretty cool. Nice
Yeah,
to
it was
see you
deadly.
again. Did you have a good journey back? We were
Yeah,
together at
well,
Fest for those that don't know.
yeah, it was a long, long journey home, but it was good nonetheless. It was worth it. Great to see everyone. Fest was unbelievable. That was my first one, and there was about 400 people, I want to say, but it was
Yeah.
deadly and definitely worth the trip.
Nice. You must have been pretty. Did you get grabbed for a few selfies?
I
I
did,
saw you
yeah. I
taking
was
a lot of
surprised.
photos.
I seen a lot of people there, so a lot of common faces that it was great to meet. So absolutely buzzing with it, and we'll definitely be there again next year. So Johnny, I
Nice.
suppose we'll start with the most recent game, Chelsea. What did you think of it?
Yeah, like you know, I stupidly went into it thinking Chelsea could actually maybe get a draw. Like no one goes into that fixture thinking you'll beat Man City, but just with no Rodri and Foden and De Bruyne are obviously only recently coming back. No Bob, but City just controlled stuff, don't they? The thing is, like, if Chelsea take their big chance, like Jackson missed a massive chance. Like, it was a good save for medicine, but if that goes in, it's a very different football match. But that's the thing, you've got to take your chances, and City always seem to do that, and Arsenal always think the best teams do it. Chelsea aren't there. But that Jackson chance, I've not checked the XG, must have been huge.
Yeah,
Don't know. Did you see it?
yeah. I thought Jackson was quite poor in general. It was that chance, the
Mm,
offside goal, and I feel like a lot of his hold up play in general, the ball was kind of just bouncing off and wasn't sticking quite well. Um,
yeah.
what about Nkunku though? Nkunku with the early sub, I thought he played quite well off the left, which was quite interesting.
Yeah, like this is a guy that can play in so many positions. And pre-season, what's funny, we've seen him play a lot like as a number eight. We've seen him play number nine. We've seen him play number 10. We haven't really seen much of him on the left pre-season. So it was surprising. But look, Maresca set this Chelsea team up very differently to how he set his pre-season teams up. And that's because he was playing Man City. This isn't the Chelsea team or shape we should expect from Maresca. We will always see an inverted fullback. But because it was Man City, he didn't go with that today. So again, Nkunku's position is key to that too. We could see Nkunku back in a central area next week. Don't be surprised. Some have said in the chat, Nkunku doesn't look like to be a good option, blah, blah, blah. The only reason he didn't get many minutes, no Chelsea fan expected Nkunku to play 90. Chelsea have got Europa League qualifying,
Oh
which
yeah.
is random. So Chelsea have got a fixture this midweek and they've got another fixture the midweek after. And Nkunku's minutes have to be managed a little bit. I don't think we should knee-jerk sell Nkunku. The fixtures are brilliant now for Chelsea, and he's still going to be a good option. I thought he played all right in his hour.
Yeah, I thought he played quite well. I know myself. Like I wasn't too optimistic about Chelsea versus City, so I benched Nkunku this week. But I don't think it puts me off at all about how many minutes he got or how he even played because I've like he will start against I think it's Wolves next week, won't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And I wonder if Neto will play against Wolves. So that'll be interesting. And Martin in the chat says, Nkunku sharing minutes with Neto. Martin, I promise you that will not be the case. Like, that's just not going to be a thing. They're not Chelsea's two only left wingers, and it'll always be one or the other. Just because they shared minutes today, that does not mean they're going to be sharing minutes moving forward. Please don't say that, or please don't think that. Guys, awesome to see over 350 of you in the chat. If you're enjoying the stream, just do us a favor and hit that like button. It helps the algorithm and all that. What do you make of Eze today? He had 7 shots. I just saw that stat in the scout members area, and obviously one of those shots was a goal, a free kick goal. Really unlucky.
Oh man, I was watching that game and I suddenly switched to no Eze near towards the last
Did
day or
you?
so. Yeah, and I got away with murder. I made a tweet about it, and I think everyone agrees. But yeah, it was absolutely
Mm.
ridiculous. I think it was that referee's first match. I heard someone say, and bad day in the office if it was. But yeah, very unfortunate. And I think in general, Eze was really really good. Is absolutely everything happened that you would want if you owned him. But it doesn't
Yeah.
sway me off him if I owned him.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. No, I hear that. I actually, like you, binned Eze off fairly late and he was in my team most of pre-season. So probably got away with one there. If we're talking about managers that didn't own a player and got away with one, probably none more so than those that didn't own Bruno. Like I thought as a non-Bruno owner, and this is going all the way back to Friday night, but he accumulated over 1 XG through those a couple of big chances, didn't he?
Yeah, we were watching the game on the big screen in Fest, and I didn't see too much of the game in terms of like the actual build up to all the chances, but those two misses were hard to miss and very unfortunate. I've been very very high on Bruno, but I still think there's big things to come.
So, Shai, this stream is all about you and your team.
Yeah.
Just tell us a little bit for those that are because you're fairly new to the Scout family. Just tell us about for those that don't know, you're a YouTuber. You sort of started creating content this time last year, or no, later than that, like in the last, I don't know, 6-9 months. But you got to world number 2 by not owning Haaland last season. Around when? Game week 25 odd?
Chat is saying I'm a bit too low. Is this a bit better? Yeah, so game week, I think it was 22, I was second in the world. But yeah, it's been deadly. And actually, on that topic, what do you think of the no Haaland now that we've seen both Salah and Haaland play? I know it's easy to say, the Salah people were right and the Haaland people were wrong, but I don't think that's the case at all.
Do you know? I think the case was. I think the vast majority of us were wrong. I think the answer was both. Fees fit them both in at any cost.
Yeah,
because they both just look like, I look back and go, I made a lot of Salah and Haaland drafts. We all did. And they all, it always felt like there was a compromise too many. But at the same time, many will look at it and go, there's so many good budget players this year. You could have gone with that. So look, I mean, maybe that was the right option. We won't know for a couple of weeks. Haaland, by the way, interestingly enough, in today's game, looks like he's going to end with 2 bonus points. Like, it's so close. And of course, bonus points can change. And the deadline for them to change is later than it used to be. But as things stand, Kovacic was 35 in the BPS, Haaland 31, so he'll get 2. And Ederson just pipped Gvardiol at the end. So Gvardiol at the moment is 29 and Ederson 30. So it will be, Ederson with 1 bonus. Gvardiol with a 6-pointer for all his owners, though.
Yeah, is my audio okay? I just turned it up a small bit. I was actually looking at the bonus before the game ended, and I seen the Guardiola was on 1 bonus before, and I was like, oh no, not this again, because I got rid of him. But thankfully he got away with 1 again. And Barco, actually, he's the one that didn't play that I had starting before we actually get into my team for next week. What did you make of that, and who, if you have him starting, did you have come on?
Yeah, I didn't have Barco starting, so I guess I was all right. But I guess let's discuss both Barco and Kwanzaa, because the guy I actually did have starting, mate, was Kwanzaa. So I own both of them, which gives us a little bit of an issue for next week. The good thing for Barco owners next week, especially if you own Kwanzaa, is Brighton are the early kickoff. We'll very likely hear if Barco is benched, because he's the early kickoff. What I would say is Barco's been carrying a knock. He didn't come off the bench. That doesn't mean he didn't come off the bench because he's not wanted. And just because he didn't start at left back doesn't mean he won't start at left back again. Now, look, if I was a betting man, I'd say Barco probably isn't first choice. But you never know. He could easily start against Man United, and he could have been carrying an injury, only fit enough for the bench and not risked. He had such a good preseason. He was on set pieces. He was key to how they're playing. So Barco owners, I personally wouldn't feel comfortable knee-jerk selling him. Also, he's only a 4 million defender. Who are you going to go and get for 4 million and have a guaranteed good player? So yeah, before we talk Kwanzaa, mate, what's your take on Barco?
Yeah, so I started Barco. I thought he was going to start for sure. I got Robinson off the bench, who I thought was very, very lively in that United game. But yeah, I don't really mind because Barco didn't get subbed on, so I'll get to 2 points off the bench.
Yeah, and Kwanzaa, you don't own Kwanzaa, do you?
Yeah, so I was actually on stream and I was talking about Kwanzaa, and I didn't understand why in general the community kind of flocked towards Kwanzaa. I always felt like Konate on his day is a really, really good defender. Maybe that's just me, but I didn't think that he was definitely going to be nailed. Now, obviously, I can't say I expected a 45-minute sub, but I would say in general, for me, I didn't want to go there, especially I already had Trent. Trent was amazing, by the way.
Yeah. I own double Liverpool defence. I do own Trent. And I feel like many pre-seasons said, oh, why don't you have Arsenal defenders? Well, look, don't get me wrong. I'd love Arsenal defenders. And they proved again yesterday. Brilliant option, as always. But if you are going for that one premium defender, spending the extra million on Trent felt validated after watching Trent play. Like, so nearly did we get a beautiful Trent assist for a Jota header, which was somehow missed. Like, I was on Jota and Trent, many of you were. And to see that combination, everyone was like, oh, that would have been amazing. But Trent is on it. And Liverpool, under Slot, will keep more clean sheets, I think. Now, that's why I liked Kwanzaa. I was willing to gamble on his minutes, but we do need him in the 11. And obviously, Konate is a great option too. And Konate, we've heard all the quotes. Check out Scout if you haven't. But the jewels were important, and they were losing too many jewels. Kwanzaa wasn't hooked because he was playing poorly. Kwanzaa was hooked because Slot felt he needed to get Konate on the pitch. You weren't going to take Van Dijk off, so it was Kwanzaa by default. I guess we'll see Konate start next week because, again, they play a team in Brentford that can be quite good in the air. It's unfortunate, but again, I'm probably not knee-jerk selling him yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't knee-jerk sell him either. I was sitting on a plane for that first half. I got to watch it, and I was head and hands. Salah's about to blank, and everyone's going to get a Haaland haul. And then my plane took off, and I didn't get to see the second half, and I was lucky to return to a lovely goal and assist by Salah. But yeah,
buzzing. So tell me your big decisions then. Like, you were buzzing with Salah. Was he your captain?
He was, yeah. So I captained Salah. I had Jota and I had Trent, so that was lovely. João Pedro, it was 3-0 in the end versus Everton. Unlucky, I would say. He got subbed as well. But if Brighton keep attacking like that, we're going to see returns from João Pedro, no doubt.
Yeah, okay. So at this point in the stream chart, I guess we're going to see your team, are we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I'm keen to know your team. I've purposely not looked. I like to react to these things if possible.
Okay,
fairly live. So how's it gone so far?
My team so far, or my team for next week?
Oh, well, whatever.
So I'm currently on, I think, 58 points with Robinson on the bench. But what I've brought up now is my team for next week, because that's what I thought you were talking about.
No, that's good.
This week doesn't look too bad. Of course, we nailed the Salah captaincy, which is massive. I think without that, I'd be doing fairly poorly. But I still have 3 Spurs players to play. Of Pedro Porro, Solanke, and Son. Looking forward to tomorrow, by the way. I'm
so glad you ended up on Son.
Yeah, me too. Like, in hindsight, though,
you were so torn with Saka, weren't you? And Saka obviously delivered big.
You're happy
so
we do
need some Son points.
Yeah, some points would be great tomorrow. I think we should score a few, hopefully, against Leicester. But yeah, let's get into my team. So for Gameweek 2, as it lines up now, is Henderson on goal, a 3 at the back of Pedro Porro, Trent, and Robinson versus Leicester at home. 5 in the middle, Bruno Fernandes, Diogo Jota, Son, Mo Salah, and Nkunku, and then 2 up top with Solanke and Isak. So Jenny, what are your initial thoughts looking at this? Of course, 1 free transfer in the bank.
I mean, there's a lot of people that enter Game Week 2 with a bit of a defensive nightmare off the back of Kwanzaa, Barco. By the way, Johnson, who is in both mine and Chai's, if he's our 5th defender, should start for Ipswich against Man City. The guy that played right back for Ipswich yesterday looked like he pulled his hamstring at 55 minutes. But I look at your team and go, wow, you're really well prepped, because you've got Robinson with a prime fixture coming in. Pedro Porro's got a brilliant fixture. Trent, even Henderson in goal. Like, most of your players are playing at home, certainly the back line. And then you've got Bruno away and Nkunku away. Isak away. I think you've only got 3 players playing away from 11. That's quite handy. I mean, you look like you're going to have a massive game week, even though you don't have Haaland. The big thing for you, as it was this week, is going to be, can Salah hit big? And I think against Brentford, he can. I mean, what did you make of Brentford defensively today? I mean, Palace obviously had their chances.
Yeah, I seen, like, that game was really, really open. I think in general, a lot of the Palace attackers, we've seen even Munoz on the right flank get very forward. And I think if they give space to Trent, I mean, they're going to get hurt. But yeah, it is definitely a nice fixture for Salah at home. My only question is whether I do Son to KDB or a Foden. Right. And I'm trying to make my mind up before we see Son play Leicester. Because if he blanks, obviously it's the easier decision to do. And if he gets a hat-trick, you know what I mean. I don't want it to be a knee-jerk decision. I want it to be, on paper, a better decision. I think in general, though, it's always better to maybe just roll and leave it play out.
Yeah, I hear that. It's going to be, yeah, okay. And I guess before we go too much more about your team, your Spurs assets, what was the plan with them? Because you've got three. They obviously, we don't know what they'll do against Leicester. They've got the good fixture against Everton, but then the fixtures turn. Are you thinking you might sell a Spurs player come game week 3? Or are you happy carrying the trio? Was it just probably too early to say?
Yeah, no, I was thinking about the game week 3 fixture against Newcastle away, isn't it? And
Mm,
I actually don't mind starting two Spurs attackers versus Newcastle. Um,
yeah.
like, don't get me wrong, St James's Park is a fortress, and you can't judge how they played because they had 10 men.
Yeah.
But I think in general we could still score, and especially with the likes of Son, talismanic man. Can't see who else I would go down to, but for sure in game week 4 or 5 I will be going to a Saka.
Foden?
I could go to a
Foden? I
Foden,
mean,
yeah.
because you don't have Haaland as well. Is that on your mind?
100% is on my mind. But again,
Yeah.
like, if, for example, I got away with Haaland somehow magically blanking next week, like, I am
Yeah.
absolutely laughing, and all the no Haaland owners
Yeah.
are. So, like, I'm not too worried about it. My expectation is that he probably does get a brace, but hopefully, my captain can do just as well, and he doesn't do 3 or 4 goals.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Well, look, I love the fact you went differential. What's your feeling on Saka before we move on? Because he's punished both of us this week. Um, we never said he was a bad pick. Like both of us were very, at times really close to having him in our teams, but he did punish yesterday. What did you make of Arsenal in general?
Yeah, Arsenal controlled the game. I do feel like Wolves had the odd chance or two. But in general, you probably expected Arsenal to keep a clean sheet and to win the game. Um, Saka was absolutely amazing. I coined Saka the third best asset in FPL on my stream,
Hmm.
and rightfully so. I think over this season he's going to get into that bracket of the premiums of a Haaland and Salah. Uh,
Hala.
yeah, Haaland. I keep saying that. I
Hala.
don't know why. But yeah,
Yeah, okay, nice. All right, so looking at your game week 2 team, are Palace going to keep a clean sheet? What do you make? What did you make of West Ham? Like they produced some chances. Obviously, Paqueta got the pen. Palace didn't do that well defensively today. Like Brentford scored a couple.
yeah. To be fair, I don't know in general what I expected from Henderson. It's just kind of a set and
Nor
forget,
me.
and
Mm.
like it is what it is. And hopefully over a few game weeks he returns. And I can't really see myself changing him for a while.
Yeah, okay. I guess I feel the same there. I guess I feel the same. I'm not sure with Palace because last season we saw like such strengths from them defensively, but I look at them and go, "Oh, Mark Gahey is probably going to leave," and does that then make them weaker? I mean, Newcastle have got Share now suspended for 3 games. Does that speed up a transfer? Maybe I don't know. Some would say that speeds up a transfer for them to move for Mark Gahey. What do you make of that? And that red card, especially for Share.
Yeah, that red card was madness. I didn't think it was a red personally, but then
Yeah,
again,
nor
when you're
me.
like, in this league what it's like, you
True.
can't even step foot near anyone at this point. Now saying that, I don't know how that guy for against Arsenal didn't get sent off, but we
Oh
won't.
yeah.
Yeah, that was mental.
What's
Um,
he's a 4 million defender, by the way. Just FYI, starter at the
good,
moment.
I wrote that down. Um,
Yeah,
but what was I saying? Who was I talking about? I've lose
yeah.
track.
The red card from Share
Oh yeah, so
and Newcastle
yeah,
defensively. Yeah.
Cher also misses that game against Spurs in game week 3, so
Yes,
that's
that's
massive.
useful for us.
Yeah, if you're on Sun, so I kind of definitely want to keep Sun for that. I think now, obviously,
Mm.
they're still going to be fairly tight at the back, but I don't know. I feel good going into that game if I had Sun.
Yeah, and likewise with that suspension, Lewis Hall owners, of which selfishly I'm one. I'm just talking about my players here, but that massively helps too because Dan Burns only needs to play centre back now. For those that were worried about Dan Burns playing left back, personally, it wasn't a massive worry for me early on. But yeah, let's look at your team in terms of any early transfer thoughts. Do you have any, or do you think it's very likely going to be a roll? I mean, for you, I can't see a transfer here.
Yeah, I'm say I'm about 70% on a roll and 30%
Yeah,
chance of bringing in a KDB or a Foden for a Son, but I just very unlikely. I'm not a very knee
yeah,
jerky manager. I don't really make decisions based off of one game like we saw today. Um, It depends which way you kind of look at things, but yeah, for me, like I think Bruno's a prime example. He missed the chances, but United striker number 9, I thought was very, very interesting. I wonder is he going to stay there, but definitely a hole in a type of player like him.
Yeah, for sure. Bruno, Brighton away. They were really impressive at the back, Brighton against Everton, weren't they? Do you expect much from Bruno, given the fact he created so many chances for himself on Friday night?
Yeah, I think if you're going into that game, you expect United to make a few chances. I definitely am anyway. Like for example, I definitely start Bruno over João Pedro. Benching João Pedro against United at home, maybe not the best, but I feel like out with those 7 or 8 players there, I think that is the best lineup in my opinion.
I love that you've got a good 8th attacker though, and I think that's like both of us have a similar sort of setup. We don't have a dead spot. We don't have a dead 8th attacker. We don't have a 4.5 forward that doesn't play. Or we don't have a crap 4.5 midfielder. So you've got. It's not really a benching headache. Like João Pedro is clearly the best player to bench this week. But should you have an injury or be worried about an Nkunku start or whatever, you have that option. And I think that's quite important moving forward. Especially if we're looking to roll transfers more and more often. Captaincy, Chai, you like not committing to captains until the day. Like you're very much I'll tell you my captain on the game week deadline.
I genuinely
but even
don't
game week 1. Do you? Yeah, but this one feels obvious, no? Or is it not to you?
I suppose it feels obvious now, right? But if Son, for example, does very well against Leicester, like be easily swayed.
Or Solanke, if Solanke goes and bangs versus Leicester, even.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could ever see myself captaining a non-penalty taker over our talisman. Right. For example, like would you captain Jota over a Salah? I think it's just unlikely. I don't think it's something I'd do.
Yeah. Okay. No, I hear you there. I do hear you there. The strengths of Salah, though, feel obvious. What did you make of the performance? Because all pre-season, he's going to be too wide. Like, he wasn't too wide when he got his goal and assist.
Yeah, touchline winger done it again. I was very, very happy. But no, in all seriousness, I feel like if you had Salah, you probably... if you had Salah and Haaland, you didn't have a Saka. Or a Trent. Right. Maybe you did have a Trent, but you didn't have definitely a Saka in that kind of space. And if you had... Jota and Salah and Isaac, you probably didn't have Haaland. So I feel like in general the week probably balanced itself out better for all owners. Maybe that's a hot take, but looking at it, I think it kind of did.
Charlie, you don't have any money in the bank, do you?
No, 0 in the bank.
To double check. Yeah, okay. No, I expected so. Okay. I'm just thinking of your future plans with this team. Like it's very difficult to plan game week 3 transfers if you're not making one in game week 2. But looking at it, you look really well set. And I guess it's just that swing of fixtures for Spurs. Let's see if Aston Villa turn it on game week 2. Obviously, you don't have a Villa player. And you've probably looked ahead and seen their fixtures from game week 3, right?
Yeah, they look amazing. And I thought Bailey was quite good yesterday. And, of course, Rodgers, he had a few chances. And he played, I think, 80-plus minutes. So he's definitely one to look out for. How I would get to him, I'm unsure. Looking at those 5 in midfield, I don't think I'd want to get rid of any of them.
Yeah, I guess if you saw reduced minutes from Nkunku against Wolves and just went, I can't be bothered with those reduced minutes because of Chelsea's involvement in Europe and his past injuries. But yeah, I mean, that feels like a big downgrade. I have Rodgers, which I was really happy about, his performance. And I guess from game week 3, having Rodgers might mean you might feel like you don't need to rip your team up to get Watkins in. Because I do think if Watkins bangs game week 2, there'll be a lot of sellers of Isak in particular, game week 2, in between game week 2 and 3, because Isak and Watkins obviously so similar in price.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the future.
Would you look at that?
Yeah, 100%. I was looking at some of my future transfers. I was using FPL Team, and I find it hard to get rid of any of the players I currently have because I have them for a reason. My game week 1, I picked all these players knowing and thinking that I'd be holding on to them. So it would really have to be, I think, something like an injury or someone with reduced minutes for me to make a transfer. And initially, at the start of the season, I really thought the 5 transfers are still a bit overrated. And now I'm looking like I could be going down that path. But, I mean, that's an ideal world. Let's see.
You need a bit of luck as well because you need no injuries or suspensions or players losing their place. I've had a Kwanzaa and you've got a Barco, but Barco's not going to be worth a transfer for you because he's a bench player. So, yeah, definitely one to monitor. I do wonder with Aston Villa, how Rodgers is going to develop in this team. Like, this is a guy that was really sharp, I thought, against West Ham. He's given responsibility to play almost like, well, pretty close to Ollie Watkins. So he's very attacking as a listed, obviously, as a midfielder in FPL. He ended the season so well for Villa. And then pre-season, he went and scored 3, got 2 assists in like under 400 minutes. Like, he feels like he's going to be a very good option. I can, Pieter says in the chat, I really like how Rodgers played. Satcher said Rodgers actually played 90.
Oh,
I
really?
think you maybe mentioned, yeah, I think, well, we'll check that. I can't remember myself. Rodgers looks like a steal, says FPL Vass at the price point. If he continues getting the 90 minutes, he's on my team from Gameweek 1. Yeah, so a lot like the idea of Rodgers. Guys, we've got 1,100 watching live, which is amazing. If you want to show your support for the stream, hit that like button. And of course, consider subscribing to Scout if you're not already subscribed. If you haven't already checked out the Scout members area as well, like a wealth of info this morning. I was in there this morning just looking at like all the XG over and under performers, looking at looking at all the data. Like straight away, I just loaded Brentford Palace and saw, yeah, Brentford clocked 1.39 XG versus Palace's 1.07. What's interesting, this is because of massive Jackson chance as well. Chelsea clocked a higher XG than City today. Did you know that, Chai? 1.23 versus 0.82.
I didn't know that. No, that just gives more credit to Haaland, who's an absolutely lethal finisher.
Yeah, yeah, and he nearly had a second as well. It was
Yeah,
quite a good save from Sanchez. That
it's funny. I was scrolling through Twitter, and people are not used to not owning Haaland. I keep calling him that. But last season, like for example, throughout the 30 game weeks, I was seeing, oh, we all own him anyway. It doesn't matter if he scores. But now we're seeing a different story. We're seeing way more variation. And I was scrolling through and I was seeing people, oh, I'm hiding behind the couch and all this. So it's good to see. Welcome to my side.
Yeah, okay, nice. What's your thoughts for the week then, in terms of plans and content? What you're just going to be, doing some research, probably not making a move and relaxing, right?
Yeah, I'm working tomorrow, and then after I have the Tottenham game, I'm just buzzing for it. Honestly, I can't wait. It's been a while since obviously since the season restarted, but I just can't wait, and hopefully I'm not disappointed. What about yourself?
Yeah, similar to you. Like, I'm going to the game tomorrow night. I'm going to Spurs versus Leicester. I'm sat with the Leicester fans, so I'll have to keep my celebrations down if Son or Solanke score for me. But yeah, no. I might be forced into a move because I do own Kwanzaa and Barco, and that's an issue. And I have Johnson, who plays Man City. Like, I don't want to be starting one of those if they're not. But we're going to probably hear Barco news, and I'm very comfortable starting Barco versus Man United. Seeing how Brighton defended against Everton as well. But I'm only confident starting Barco and happy starting Barco if he's starting, and we will probably find out pre-deadline. So that one will go down to the wire. I'm on a stag do in Germany though, so that could be fun. I need to make sure I'm online for that. Yeah, I know. Crazy. Chai, where can we find you?
FPL Chai on YouTube and Chai_FPL on X.
Yeah, okay. We'll do a couple more minutes, guys. I just want to push Chai on Jota. You were quite bullish on Jota. If you don't own Jota and you maybe don't have any fires, would you consider jumping on him straight away? Let's say you own Gordon, or let's say even you've got Eze and money in the bank, or Nkunku and money in the bank. Like Jota, if you can get to him on a free transfer this week, feels like someone you should move to, right? We've seen enough now to go, yeah, he's a gift.
Yeah, again, like you said though, it's very hard to make transfers so early on. Like Nkunku, Gordon, they could still both do very, very well, and Eze too. Like they're still very good options, and I don't know if you can stretch to a Jota. I know from Eze to Jota it is 0.5 more, and Nkunku to a Jota it is 1 million more. So it's probably a -4 this week. So I think I would just be hopeful that Jota doesn't go and do it again this week. And we're eventually going to see some Darwin Núñez minutes as well. So we might see an early sub this week.
Yeah, okay, nice. Guys, make sure you're dropping a comment if you're watching on Catch Up. Thank you for everyone in the chat. You can find me as well on Twitter. I'm also on YouTube, and I'm doing a live stream tonight. If anyone fancies joining to hear more about my team, we've obviously heard lots about Chai's in this stream. I will be live in 45 minutes' time. I've just put a link in the chat. Come over to my channel and set that reminder. But guys, there is going to be loads of content on Scout all week. Scoutcast coming up. We've got burning questions coming up. If you're just tuning in now, go back and watch the last half an hour to get all of Chai's thoughts. And this is going to be a regular Sunday show. So if you like that idea, drop a comment and let us know. And Chai, I'll hand back to you to see us out.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining us again. This is my second time doing it, and thankfully no technical issues this time.
Mate, it was smooth.
Yeah,
it was
very smooth this time. I have to say, what can I say? But no, thank you to the 1K plus of you that are tuning in, and we'll both see you next Sunday.
Nice. See you later, guys. Bye.